Right, you're welcome back. This is Newsfile, it's your most authoritative news analysis show, and the rest of the time is dedicated to discussing the GFA. Some of your messages, Ibrahim Kopa says, fundamentally, the MD should have allowed the public relations officer of the Maritime Authority to address the media. His demeanor smacks of a sense of arrogance and disrespect to the sensibilities of the general public. Even if the law allows what he did, it defies common logic. Kwabena Intema says, I do not think the man was confirming that 11 air conditioners have been fitted into the house. Well, he did. Let's proceed to the next one. Kofi Attar in Cambridge says that following the quashing of the High Court judgment by the Supreme Court and the removal of the former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, the removal becomes problematic. Okay, so again, we need to be careful how we link all of those matters together as one. Eja Adam says that Kwame Owusu is not the only technocrat the NPP has who is fit and most qualified to run the Ghana Maritime Authority. If he doesn't know that circumspection and discretion are cherished virtues in public office and will only think of his personal comfort, then he deserves to be shown the exit. John Waman says that it is likely that government's initial decision and action were motivated by the desire to speedily reopen the university whilst investigations go on. The way matters stand now, the early reopening doesn't look likely. Let no one blame government. I have failed to decode where the judgment says Professor Mauto Avoke should be recalled and reinstated. It's worth repeating, Avoke was not asked based upon any court decision. Well, some challenge you on that. No court asked him to leave the post. The governing council of the University of Education dismissed him over procurement breaches and other equally grave issues. Okay. Thank you very much for your messages, and was hoping I could share a few more that you have here. Kojo Yangson refers to the earlier issue and says that, what's the difference between the maritime guy and Gifty Clenam? Did the president not remove her from Ghana Export Promotion Authority without even providing the public with a reason? Why should he not be able to remove the maritime guy? A lot more of those messages, and Komla says that the man said the board has given approval for everything. Why must the board investigate him? This is not good. Nana Hesse Ojiri says that inasmuch as I agree with Kweku Bako over the posture of the man, he has indeed brought great changes to the Maritime Authority. A firm that
was not the subject matter you gave us.
Right.
To deal with.
Okay. Okay. It's not about his achievements, you mean. Okay. A firm that couldn't even pay its workers and yearly turnover was negative is today making profits. Maybe this success made him to put such an attitude in the public space. Nana Hesse Ojiri sent in that one. Sorry?
A person who does that obviously lacks emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, okay.
Yes.
He has taken a lot of flack from many people over that. And Larry says that Professor Jankpo's write-up about the disturbances in KNUST should be considered. Of course, Professor Jankpo outright went to say government simply goofed, and that should be the end of the matter. Okay, so we go to here again. I get accused. You know that when we had the Ropa judgment, that week we were supposed to have a discussion here. the discussion couldn't come on because the issue became the last issue.
Yeah.
And then last week, Ropa was also supposed to feature. It became the last issue and we couldn't discuss it. And here I have people of a client nature saying, what is wrong with you? Your own matters. I'm sorry. That's it. It's not about what concerns me. Thank you very much. Now, so let's start on this note with Martin.
Oh, okay.
The bottom line here is that government ought to have been speedy and should have prosecuted Nyantakyi even before FIFA Ethics Committee or adjudicatory body would have come out with its findings, because we started the process first, reporting him to the police. He came, he was arrested, so to speak, and then giving provisional charges of defrauding by false pretenses or so. And then we said we are investigating. And then we sat for FIFA to finish and make a conclusion. We haven't done anything. Is it a fair comment against the government?
Oh, not really, because you see, the truth of the matter is that long ago, and it didn't even start today, the investigators, the police are grossly understaffed. Grossly understaffed, so you don't have enough investigators. Even the Attorney General in April this year, we are taking up some issues. We had been petitioning her that we should phase out police who are prosecutors and that, okay, so that we'll have more lawyers. What it turned out is that she needs 350 lawyers. You know what she got this year? She got 50, approval to appoint only 50. So the point I'm making is that the Attorney General staff has been understaffed for years. It's public knowledge. The police, the same. But by the UN standards, we're supposed to do one policeman for every 500 citizens, right? We're doing one policeman for about 900 and something, almost double. So if you look at June to November, this is November, ordinarily in Ghana's criminal justice system, that's not a delay. Although I also appreciate and I advocate that, considering that this was a critical matter, perhaps maybe they should have taken extra men and given it a very serious attention. You say, yes, that would have been desirable. But then again, the question comes that, well, that's how the system runs. So to be candid, I mean, we definitely need to do something about the numbers. So if we have the right numbers, then that one, it will be easy to.
Why are you making excuses for the police?
No, because it's open knowledge. Ask all the experts, the security experts. They'll tell you 1 to 500. We are doing double. So you see, and it's good if you ask that question. It's because I go to court all the time, almost 5 days a week. I'm in court. I see it. Ghana, ordinary, you don't finish and prosecute and finish within, so June, this November, so about how many, 3 months, 4? That's not the norm. You see, so if I sit here and say something asking for the moon, it will look like then I've never stepped in our court. So I'm just reflecting the sad reality, and also in the same breath, then reinforcing the point that the government should give the Attorney General the needed resources. It's this same problem that eventually led to the creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. You see, even there are issues about resources. So the thing is that it's open. I'm not the one saying it. The Attorney General is a daily graphic sometime in April this year. Attorney General says she needs 350 lawyers to be able to function efficiently. She was given approval for 50. This issue didn't start today. So you see, by my nature, I'm the type that usually I want to be fair to the facts. Having worked in the course for all these years, almost 12 years, okay, I can't come and sit here and say, oh, there's a delay. No, then it will mean that I don't have experience.
Well, some say it is not just a mere delay. It's perhaps one of the things that go on because big men are involved, so we find ways of, shielding them. And if you had read the NDC statement that it issued, clearly indicting the government and the Attorney General, for inertia and not doing anything.
Samson, good. Let's go back to the records. Republic versus Ibrahim Adam. How many years did it take? Republic versus Salome. We can name them. All of them is years. So that's what I say. I'm careful. In actual fact, I'm beginning to get tired about the accusations. Sometimes, when you lay the facts bare after the program. In this case,
they are saying you have not even put the person before court.
But there is communication that the CID just finished. That's what I'm saying. So if we go back to the decided cases, you will see that that's been the pattern, even when we're kids. you will see that in Ghana's criminal justice, it's not the best. So it's good you've asked it this way. So your questions really are pointing to the reforms that we've been crying for. Let's increase the police strength, for investigations. Let's increase the number of state attorneys. They are overwhelmed. You know, you take the docket to the Attorney General's office for advice on the matter. If you're not careful, you can take a year because there are simply not enough lawyers. So I'm not the one saying it. I can't come and lie because it will be very sweet. It will sound sound well in the ears of listeners who want to do everything well about corruption. Yes, but rather let's make the point that the criminal justice system has not received good attention, enough attention, and it's not today. It's been so for decades now.
Now we know that the Attorney General has received the docket.
Yes.
They have to review it and then take a determination whether they go to court or not.
Yeah.
What are your expectations? And how should they carry the people along so that the accusation doesn't come up again?
Perfect. So learning from our mistakes, the AG should appoint a specific state attorney, then relieve that state attorney of all other schedules, all other duties. You see, that will help because otherwise, you know, the public pressure, even these explanations we are giving, not every citizen will buy it. So please, Madam Attorney General, considering that this is a very critical matter, everybody is looking to you to do what has to be done. Appoint a specific state attorney, relieve that state attorney of all other schedules. So there is this particular file on Nyantakyi, which that state attorney has to work on. And I'm sure in no time we will get results. And that has to be
They're saying that the Attorney General's department should be yielding to public pressure on its determinations on how to prosecute a matter.
No, that's not it. What it is that this we are calling public pressure, perhaps it's an understatement. The public is angry, very angry. You know, we've suffered a lot of embarrassment, international and all that. So this would, and you know, to every rule there are exceptions. To every rule there are exceptions. So perhaps we can justify it because the more it delays, then the more it feeds into the suspicion that, oh yes, because the Mr. Nyantakyi is alleged to be close to somebody higher up in office, that's how come this case will not get anywhere. You remember even from the early days, as soon as it came out, some pundits who knows more than you and I know, looked at it, looked in the crystal ball and could tell that for the role that Mr. Nyantakyi played in funding Party X and Party Y, this case will not come to court. So perhaps in order to help the system, the Attorney General should do something.
But briefly though, what do you make of FIFA's verdict on him?
Yeah, so that swift is good because eventually what is told us is that we too, I see it as a challenge to us because as soon as we don't do anything, it will forever remain as an indictment on this country. So it's good because it will put pressure on our system to act swiftly.
FIFA has found him guilty of corruption, of bribery, of conflict of interest. Automatically, we should be putting him in court for same offenses, right?
No. If as soon as I know, as a lawyer, I heard you previously, you know, you yourself, you were interviewed, I think, on your station or so.
I don't bring my interviews on this show. So
very good. No, but it's just to say that even, and I'm sure you're teasing now so that we can educate the public. Yes, as you stated, the adjudicating chamber is not a criminal court. When you go into the criminal court, you're going to prove these offenses beyond reasonable doubt. Prove beyond reasonable doubt. So where there is a doubt, it will inure to the benefit of Mr. Nyantakyi. You remember in the early days where some cases, these things were mentioned, there were issues. So because I don't know what is in the docket, you see, these things, being the lawyer, is just not good for me to rush. When the Attorney General finishes reviewing the docket, I'm sure they would begin to make some information available. Then we can critically analyze because the video as we saw and the rest, you know how due process goes. We should give him due process. Mr. Nyantakyi deserves due process. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Randy, first, what FIFA has handed him, you are familiar with that world. How could he have come to the conclusion that you get a lifetime ban and then you get to pay a whopping 2.4 million Ghana cedis in addition? Why?
Well, first of all, the lifetime ban was what the petitioners requested for. I mean, Tiger Eye petitioned FIFA.
Okay.
And Tiger Eye, in its petition to FIFA, the chamber actually pointed out aspects of FIFA's own statute and code of ethics that it believed had been violated per the evidence it has. And mind you, a lot of us know about what we saw in number 12. But for organizations like FIFA, the Ages Department, CAF, and others, the information they have, and the police, the information they have from Tiger Eye is more than what we saw. Because, and Kweku is here, he can correct me if I'm wrong. We're told that Tiger Eye actually submitted rashes. So, I mean, that's a technical term for those who are.
Now, what does that mean?
Footages.
Okay.
So, let's say you have footages of, let's say, 700 minutes, but you want to develop a 120-minute film. So you pick from the 700 and then you do your film for 120 minutes. But you still keep all of that. And so it appears that as a tradition with respect to Tiger Eye. When they do their work and the petition, they submit all these rashes, which will then give those they expect to take certain decisions a lot more information, or what you lawyers refer to as further and better particulars.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are emails that when you were watching number 12, you just saw them flashing on your screen. Yeah. So you didn't even have the opportunity of reading these emails. Yeah. All these emails were supposed to be communication between them and Mr. Nyantakyi were all submitted. You know, so they look at the FIFA law, they quote a particular law, the code of ethics, and say that in view of this action of his, he has breached A, he's breached B, he's breached C, you know, and so on the totality of this, we expect a life ban, or we want a life ban for him. What they didn't request for was the fine. But I know that they requested for a life ban.
Kuku says it's excessive. Do you agree with him?
No, not the life ban.
No,
the
additional. Fine. The fine.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, the
well,
fine.
You see, interestingly, the communication from FIFA deals with the decision it has taken. It doesn't give you details to say that on this point, this was the evidence that was submitted. This is what we looked at. This is what we arrived at. This is why we think it is this way. Yeah. So unlike the judgments we have from our courts where you can take it and read and even find out why the judges came to a conclusion and all that, in this case, we do not have that. Okay. So it's even difficult, and that's why I even had problems with those who were earlier trying to create the impression that we submitted something that is what has led to this and that. We do not even know what they relied on. Some organization made a complaint in the course of their work. And you see, if you look at even FIFA, you would realize that taking this decision didn't come easily. For a lot of the others, like the referees, who had those punitive sanctions, their sanctions came within the first 90 days. But you realize that in the case of Kwesi, even after the 90 days, FIFA still was not ready with their decision. So they decided to activate the second 45 days. So it is not even something that they just came, it's not a decision that came lightly. And if you're going to hand out a lifetime ban, obviously a lot, the person must have committed things that are so grievous. Things that are so grievous, because you normally will see maybe a 10-year ban,
yeah, you refer
8-year ban.
You refer to how you don't appreciate why there is a claim that, you know, people may have submitted something of evidential value that assisted the FIFA to do the work in the manner it did and came to the conclusions, including the fine. When you say that, you are clearly referring to the government, the Attorney General's department. And is it too difficult to make a conclusion from what the Attorney General of Ghana, as in represented by Godfrey Dame Yeboah, filed to FIFA, that it may clearly show a basis for what was done? When you look at what they did, they took FIFA through the Jamefe Commission reports and clearly stated various sums of money that have been slapped against Kwesi Nyantakyi and his GFA as monies that had not been accounted for. and so on and so forth. They point to the amount of $412,000. They point to the amount of which they say were appropriated without receipts or justification under Kwesi Nyantakyi. Then they point to the he was unable to account for a total amount of $3,500,000 United States dollars released by the government of Ghana towards the preparation of the national team for the World Cup 2014. They also point to he failed or refused to account for the distribution of an amount of $577,000, and then they point to he was unable to account for the sum of $200,000, and then that he took double payments in organizing preparation matches ahead of the 2017 World Cup in Brazil. Then lastly, that he took money from companies to organize friendlies for the Black Stars before turning to the state to take money for the same purpose. They made all of these and went forward to say that his actions were actions that had gained what they say over the years. The image of the GFA has been on a steep decline, with Mr. Nyantakyi gaining the unenviable reputation of an overlord of a cabal of rogue elements who exploit the objects of the GFA for corruption and illegalities. The structures of the GFA became an obscene emblem of scandal, criminality, and immoral conduct.
Right. Something. You know, this document was sent to the adjudicating chamber by government on the 17th of September, which is like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
No,
now,
September.
September, about 6 weeks ago. Now, if you look at this particular document, there are government sent the ANAS tape.
Yes.
Government sent emails that I suspect were the emails, were the correspondence between between Tiger Eye and Kwesi Nyantakyi, which were submitted to the Aegis Department by Tiger Eye itself. And then you had two new elements. Those new elements were the Jamefe Commission's report and then Wikipedia. I said, so those were the two new.
Okay, the reference.
The reference to Wikipedia and Jamefe. But the others, in terms of the tape and the emails, were information that Tiger Eye had already submitted to FIFA.
Sure.
Now, fortunately, there are 3 lawyers here. We know for a fact that the government of Ghana has not petitioned FIFA over Kwesi Nyantakyi or his conduct. Tiger Eye petitioned FIFA. Tiger Eye made specific allegations. Tiger Eye pointed to specific breaches as a result of the evidence that they had given to FIFA.
Sure.
Are we suggesting that FIFA will rely on evidence unrelated to the specific issue before them, the specific allegations before them?
When FIFA made a request to the government of Ghana to supply it information and documents for the purposes of its investigations, what were you expecting?
Well, you know, I told you earlier that in the ruling of FIFA, the way it is couched, you're unable to determine from that document
the role government's information will play.
Which evidence they relied on. Because if it were a judgment for our court, from our court, you would see that they will refer to, we saw this, this particular document was provided, which led to this, which showed that this. So the point I'm making is that if Tiger Eye has petitioned FIFA and they have provided evidence and they've pointed to particular breaches in view of the conduct of Mr. Nyantakyi per that evidence, I'm just asking whether it is possible for FIFA to rely on evidence not related to the issue before them to reach a verdict.
Okay.
Do you get the point I'm making?
Okay. Do you think that when they refer to the Jamafe Committee report and give FIFA a copy, and then refer to specific portions where adverse findings were made against Kwesi Nyantakyi, and they tell the FIFA that he has appealed these adverse findings. However, until the appeal is determined, these adverse findings constitute a determination of a high court, a judgment of a high court against him. Are you saying they will not use that for anything?
I am not saying so.
Okay.
All I am saying is that as we speak today, first of all, what government submitted included evidence from the Tiger Eye work.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that unfortunately, we do not have details of that ruling to suggest that this particular evidence of the 4 that you submitted, that this particular one was relied on by FIFA to reach a certain conclusion.
Okay. Will you change what you're saying?
Yes.
If you heard FIFA say this, and these, I'm holding letters written by FIFA.
Yes.
You know, FIFA had written to the government of Ghana asking for information and documentation.
Yes.
The government of Ghana delayed a bit.
Yes.
That was the time they had issued him the 90 days ban.
Yes.
Then they wrote back asking that this information be made available.
Yeah.
Because of the delay, you would find that by the time they were extending to 45 days more, then government's information gets to FIFA. When they wrote the second time to government, they said that by means of the present letter, we would like to reiterate that your support would be fundamental, to further pursue our proceedings and to bring justice into this alleged ethics case. Then, eventually, after they received everything, they write back to commend the government for what it has done,
Yes.
and say that your collaboration on the gathering of further evidence concerning the matter at hand, they were commending it for it. So they said, we express profound gratitude for your collaboration and support into our investigations against Kwesi Nyantakyi and so on and so forth. Do you think that it is fair to try to undermine or belittle the efforts that they made?
First of all, I have not done that, and I will never do that. I have not done that, and I'll never do that.
Okay.
There is a spin associated with this thing.
Okay.
And in my view, that rather goes to belittle or demean the work of those who petition FIFA.
Oh, I see.
That's just the point I'm making.
Okay.
You know, and you see, Martin was talking about this issue of the pressure on government to prosecute. I think that it is pressure brought upon itself by government. Look, we're now being told that the docket is ready.
Yeah.
Okay. When government wanted to dissolve the GFA, the statements government made to the court were conclusive. I mean, you read one line in this, which I think was picked from the writ. Is that a proper way to call it? The writ.
Or the court process.
Which was talking about the obscene, that particular line.
Yeah.
It was in that document. And if you read that ex parte thing that they went to, it was as if there was conclusive evidence. A conclusive evidence of criminality. So if you go to a court of law and you create the impression that there is conclusive evidence of criminality,
then you end up delaying.
and then you now, after months, say that, oh, the docket is not ready. And when the docket even becomes ready, we'll now have to review it to find out whether there is even a basis for prosecution. It questions the kind of conclusions that you read. And even in this letter to FIFA.
It doesn't matter that Martin points out to you the due process that they have to go through.
Who has to go through?
The Attorney General's Department.
All I'm telling you is that if the same Attorney General's Department goes to court earlier on,
point is noted,
and makes a conclusive statement,
right? Okay.
It will be difficult for you to convince the public that
there is
due process. We've not finished.
Right. Right. So Kweku, people are saying government should not be responding and saying that we also played a role to get what FIFA has gotten. Is it fair to say so of
to
government?
the extent that there were people, including political parties, especially the main political party, pushing the line to the federal government.
The main opposition, you mean NDC?
The NDC, to the extent that there was an attempt to create the impression that government just went to bed and slept on the matter. I see the value in government communication, whether it was through leakage or interception or whatever, showing that no, even within the context of the FIFA thing, we played a role, complementary, in my opinion. Perhaps the problem with the government communication in some areas was an element of exaggeration or exclusivity in terms of the basis for the decision FIFA took.
Did they make any suggestion to that?
I'm not saying
effect?
government. I'm saying the other communicators, people who were pushing. And it's all over out there, okay? Whilst indeed the best thing to say, there was some level of collaboration between Tiger Eye and government. Tiger Eye submitted about 9 exhibits in their petition. If you look at the government list, about 4 of them are from the Tiger Eye. The only thing outstanding is the
Jamefe Commission
report. Now I've been asked.
There was a reference to Wikipedia and how on Wikipedia there was a post about how Nyantakyi had misconducted himself. Let me refer to the Wikipedia quickly so that we can get okay. So when government was communicating to FIFA, among others, it concluded by saying it is instructive to note that a Wikipedia report on Kwesi Nyantakyi records a controversy of Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi's tenure as GFA president, in which he signed a $15 million deal for sponsorship of the Ghana Premier League, but not without a third-party payment. Mid-sea, the brokers of the deal stood to gain 15% of the total amount. However, it was later found that the agency could not be traced, raising questions about who was to receive the 15% payment. All right.
You see, but this whole thing about the report, the commission report, I've been wondering, I haven't checked, but I'm wondering whether it didn't get in because of the government attempt to dissolve GFA and how it was against FIFA's line and FIFA's intervention and all this leading to the normalization.
They had made that point.
Oh, they made a point?
No, they had made that point earlier. I mean, of the Jamefe's report and all that.
Yes, so I suspect that's how they input that into the FIFA thing. But I would run you on the score that might have been very difficult for FIFA to use the Jamefe thing in dealing with Anna's petition, Tiger Eye petition. I'm sure it will be very difficult. In any case, we may be able to find answers because Kwesi Nyantakyi was given the opportunity to respond to the petition. So perhaps if we got to know what answers he gave, the Jamefe committee report may come up if indeed he was asked questions about it. You know, but
at least he helps paint, from government's point of view, he helps paint the picture of a person who's corrupt, a person who So maybe in forming an opinion about the person.
Exactly, and getting FIFA to help them in bringing up the normalization committee.
Okay, Kweku, I'm sorry, but you have to hold on briefly. We take a break. We'll be right back.
Right.
Okay, we are right back, and we'll have Kweku continue with his presentation. But obviously, because we have run out of time, this issue will be revisited. Yes, Kweku.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm not too sure what I can say the time constraint, you know. But our NDC friends issued a statement. I had occasion to subject it to some harsh critique, and some of them have been raining insults on me left, right, and center. I realize that General Mosquito has also come up with another one. He says I should be prosecuted alongside Nyantakyi for, according to him, deleting portions of the audio, video that incriminated the president. You see, when I say this is the product of a weak and wicked mind, people don't understand. I still stand by that. This kind of thing, this statement here by the NDC about Nana Akufo-Addo being the head of a bribery collection syndicate at the presidency, which they claim is evidence on the video. In addition to what Asidun Ketia is saying, if you put the two together and you tell me that that is not a byproduct of a wicked and infantile minds, I don't know what it is.
You are repeating the words you use that got Asidun Ketia to say you should be added to this.
It's crude, cheap, infantile politics. Look, people who get into trouble, this kind of politicization, ugly politicization, is the escape route for them. When we confuse people with this politicization, we politicize the issues, the culprit eventually escapes justice. We should stop that. In any case, they are asking for an independent body to probe the conduct of the president and his associates. Parliament on 7th June 2018, Nyantakyi moved a motion for the setting up of a special committee, seconded by Che Mensah, and the speaker agreeing with them and said a 7-member committee will be set up. Ask members of parliament what has happened to that body.
Interesting. Kuku, let's end on that note, and then when we bring this matter back next week, we can deal with it more thoroughly. Fiyomakin, sorry, but we have to conclude here. Now, an important post is by Seth Abolo. So he says that the public service is distinct from the civil service, and the provisions of the Civil Service Act do not apply to the Ghana Maritime Authority. GMA is not a civil service institution. Thank you for that intervention.
From the public.
Yes.
Just a last one. I just noticed on social media that I'm supposed to have sat here and defended the conduct of the Maritime House.
How?
No, I don't think you did that.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, you and I got into a bit of a banter, which was an introduction.
Amazing.
That didn't turn out initially well, but I'm sure that you were clear on your point.
I wasn't speaking Chinese.
Right. Okay, thank you. My guests have been Abdul Malik Kwekubaku, editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Alexander Kwamina Afenyo Marking is MP, member, Public, MP Futu, member, Public Accounts, Defense and Interior Committees of Parliament. Randy Abe is host, Good Morning Ghana, Metro Television, and Martin Pebu is a lawyer. He's a good friend of mine. I'm Samson Ladia Yanini. My outfit, as always, is by Latida. Have a good afternoon.